help MC this agenda and celebrate in this amazing announcement. So I have to tell you before we start, about a month and a half ago, I turned to my colleagues and I said, you know, I get all of these announcements from all the different ministries, provincial, federal, and so on. And I always see investment to the west and lots of investment happening in the north. And just one time I would love to see Northumberland County being chosen and being recognized, because most of us here today know our amazing skilled workforce and the amazing things we produce. Why isn't it our turn? And I swear to you, we're not 45 days later, and here we are. And not only do we get to see this announcement in our community, but we get to take part. It's an amazing day for our community and industry. Today, we're here to talk about the Eastern Ontario Development Fund and to recognize and celebrate two funding recipients, Vanica Packaging and Custom Plastics International. Please join me in welcoming to the stage the Honourable Vic Fedeli, Minister of Economic Development, Job Creation and Trade.
Thank you very much, Darla. Much appreciated. I have to say, you know, I'm going to have to do a better job of marketing because David Piccini brings so much money into this riding. I'm fighting for you every day. David, you and I are going to have to get into marketing 101 then, because I can tell you I've been here before making great announcements with David in the past, and we're very excited to be back here. David's been twisting our arm to get over here to make more of our announcements, and here we are now doing that very thing today. I want to say to Carol and the team, thank you very much for welcoming us to Vanica. This, you know, I have to say, I told the story once already today, but I'll tell it again. Seeing all of this packaging that you're making here for Chapman's, one day shortly after Chapman's fire, when they rebuilt their plant, I went back to their plant and watched all that beautiful ice cream being made, wrapped up in your beautiful packaging, and it was 3 o'clock and it was time to sample all the ice cream. And I can tell you, I tore into your packaging and destroyed your packaging and wolfed down so much ice cream that day at Chapman's. It took me about 6 weeks before I could eat ice cream again. That's a true, very, very true story. And I have to say, your packaging is absolutely spectacular. And to see your facility, yes, that's for you. Jim and the gang from Custom Plastics International, thanks for being here today as well. We'll be touring your place shortly. Mayor Cleveland, thanks for coming out today as we celebrate Cobourg's very own. I gotta say, you can tell we're in a packaging place when you get your name printed on a sign. That's kind of cool. So it really is a pleasure to be here today with my colleague, David Piccini, the Honourable David Piccini. As I said earlier, he really does fight for every nickel that comes to this region. He's got very sharp elbows in the caucus room, really, really pointed discussions at the cabinet table. You couldn't be in better hands. You absolutely need to know that today. You could not be in better hands than the Honourable David Piccini, who fights like a dog for you guys every single day. Today is about celebrating world-class manufacturing sector and two dynamic growing companies who provide good paying jobs to the community. Vanica Packaging, where we are today, this beautiful, massive, clean facility. You could eat off the floor here. It's so clean. What a beautiful testament to obviously the quality of the products that you put out. And to Customs Plastics International, we're really looking forward to touring your facility after this, because you both embody what Premier Ford calls the Ontario spirit. That really is what we're seeing from both of you, from the breakfast we had together and the tour we're having at your place. Both humble beginnings and scaled up to become these spectacular Ontario companies. So we will continue to champion your growth and support your firms. And on that note, we are pleased to welcome to Cobourg $8.4 million in investments from these two companies. These investments will help both of these companies grow. They're going to collectively create 30 new jobs, really good paying jobs here and in the entire surrounding region. So Vanica has a $7 million investment used to purchase new equipment to meet their growing demand through their packaging products. This beautiful 7-color press behind us and this beautiful new 6-color Heidelberg press. I've never seen anything as beautiful as that from somebody who's been in that industry decades ago. To see this new modern equipment here today really is a treat to see the products that you have and the products that come off of them. As part of their expansion, the province of Ontario is supporting this with a $500,000 grant from our Eastern Ontario Development Fund. Similarly, Customs Plastics is investing $1.4 million to be used to purchase new equipment and to improve your productivity and efficiency. And that investment will be supported with a $217,000 grant through the Eastern Development Fund. So congratulations, guys. That is spectacular news here. This fund that we're talking about is the Eastern Ontario Development Fund. And as Darla mentioned, it happens through Southern Ontario and Eastern Ontario. It's about a $100 million fund, and so far that investment has leveraged $1 billion from companies' investments in Ontario. There's 90 projects that we've supported, and about 2,100 jobs have been created. But the real story is about you and what you're doing. When our government got elected in 2018, we saw a real challenge. There was an assault on the manufacturing sector in Ontario. Manufacturing jobs, we saw 300,000 leave Ontario. When we got elected, our government began doing exactly what you needed. We reduced the cost of doing business by $8 billion. $8 billion lower revenue to the province every year so that you, business community, can be investing. And you did. Because in the first 5 years, you have created 700,000 new jobs in Ontario. 700,000 people went to work this morning that did not have a job the day we were elected. And that's an astonishing change of what's happening. But it's all happening in Ontario. 2 months ago, you heard the news, Canada created 60,000 jobs this month. 93% of them were in Toronto. Last month, 7,800 jobs were created just in the manufacturing sector. That is more than every single US state combined. That's what's happening in Ontario. That's you and you. You're doing that. So thank you again to Vanica Packaging and to Plastics International. We wish you all the best, and now it's a great honor and a great pleasure to bring up my friend, my colleague, the Honourable David Piccini.
Thank you very much, Vic. It's wonderful to be here in Cobourg with all of you this morning for today's exciting announcement. Darla, thank you very much for your active involvement, for championing the manufacturing sector in our community, and for being MC today. A big thank you to our hosts, Carol and the team at Vanica. I've so enjoyed getting to know you, Carol. I consider you a friend and an important key pillar in our community. So thank you for choosing Cobourg. Thank you for choosing our community and for your entrepreneurial spirit. I mean, Carol's story is like so many. It reminds me of my family story, choosing Canada to grow, and I'm proud to say that years later, here we are in what you have created. And that stands in stark contrast because, of course, it was a difficult time in 2008 when we lost the plant here. Minister Fedeli mentioned those jobs leaving Ontario. So to be here back today, a new day's dawned in Northumberland, Peterborough South, and we're booming in manufacturing, and I really appreciate what you've done. And to other friends at Custom Plastics. I so enjoyed my tour and take great pride. I tell this every school I'm in, and the eyes in the school and in the kids' faces open when I say referee whistles in the NHL, made right here in Cobourg. And so thank you for your leadership. Thank you for welcoming me to your plant, for our relationship. I mean, as Minister Fedeli said, this is about you and about taking risks, and about the two-way dialogue we have in government to be responsive to your needs, to tackle the red tape, to ensure we're creating a competitive climate in which to attract business. So thank you for all of your work. Thank you to our hosts here in Cobourg. And I think it speaks volumes that we have the mayor and staff here who are on the forefront of an exciting chapter here in Cobourg. We've got a lot of new excitement in this town, new staff, new energy, and I couldn't be more excited to work with all of you on your exciting plans to grow this town. So Mayor Cleveland, thank you for your leadership. Deputy Mayor and staff, thank you all for being here. And to our county friends as well. TJ, thank you as well. I mean, we are an exciting community just an hour east of Toronto. And as Darla said, the East wants in. And we see so many exciting things happening in Western Ontario. And thanks to Minister Fedeli's leadership, Premier Ford's, we're in and we're growing. And we can't do it without your leadership, TJ, in the county. So thank you very much for all that you do. And to the incredible staff here, thank you for choosing our community, for all that you do. I'm excited. I mean, I'm a foodie and I like to eat, but I'm proud that this is what's happening here in Cobourg. When you open up Chapman's Ice Cream, when you go to your favorites at the grocery store, know this, behind you, look at the product that's here. This is supporting, obviously, Canadian sectors, a big player in the recycling space, and I'm proud that every time I reach for my favorite ice cream, that's made right here in Cobourg. And I couldn't be more thrilled for today's exciting announcement. $8 million. But what does that mean, the $8 million? $8 million means that when I look out here, I see workers who are getting up, gainfully employed in our great province of Ontario. I see perhaps families that are starting. I see young people who will choose our community in which to live, work, raise a family. We know we're in a housing crisis in this province, and we cannot address and cannot tackle these sorts of expansions without simultaneously addressing the housing that's needed to support this growth. So, Minister, thank you for being a part of that discussion this morning with other manufacturers who are looking to grow. We've got more submissions coming into EODF. Every single manufacturer you met with this morning, they're all expanding, and they're all expanding right here in Northumberland, Peterborough South. So, in closing, I mean, this wouldn't have been possible without creating the climate, as Minister Fedeli said. And to his point on revenue, when we've reduced the cost of doing business, people wouldn't have necessarily intuitively thought, but our revenue is up as a government as a result, by getting out of the way, by listening, by working with upper and lower tier levels of government, by working with industry. We have actually created a climate in which we're generating more revenue. And what does that mean? That revenue means that Northumberland Hills Hospital received their 2 largest base funding increases under this government in the last 5 years. So when we generate more revenue, we have more money to invest in healthcare and social services and in important services that we all rely on in the communities that we live in. So thank you both for risking and for getting up and being willing to take risks to expand in our communities. I value you, your Government of Ontario values you, and I'm just so thrilled and proud that I live in a community of such remarkable people. I'm very proud to be from Northumberland, Peterborough South, and I'm proud of the people that make this community tick, many of whom are here today, and we do it together as a team. We don't always agree on everything, but we get up collaboratively, and I've got to say, as of late, we agree on a lot of things, and we're working very collaboratively at all levels of government to create a competitive jurisdiction in which to expand. So today's jobs announcement is one of the biggest we've seen in recent memory. It builds on announcements at Mermill, it builds on announcements at Premier Tech that you've made Minister Fedeli. We met with Travis this morning about his biggest problem is just getting more labor because he'd love to grow, and he wants to grow, and he can grow. He just needs the labor and the workforce. But I know that in the next 10 years, Northumberland's going to be the place, thanks to all of you here, where we're going to grow and create a phenomenal community in which to work, live, raise a family. So thank you for being here today. Exciting jobs announcement in our community, and I really appreciate all of your time today. And with that, I'd like to turn things over, I believe, to Mayor Cleveland to say a few words. Thank you all.
Thank you, David. Oh, you're going to come. Yeah, no problem. Thank you, David. Minister Fedeli, pleasure to meet you today, and thank you for coming. And distinguished guests, I welcome all of you. What a great day this is. In my first year as being mayor, I've learned that there's a lot of ups and downs, and one of the hardest things I have to do is always following Minister Piccini at the microphone. You're right, Minister Fedeli, he does fight for his constituents exceptionally well, and we are very appreciative of him. And thank you for coming today, sir. Now, on behalf of our entire town council, with whom I'm joined today by our deputy mayor, and of course our administration, who, as you've met, I'm joined by our director of planning and our CAO, we just all wanted to say thank you. It's a real pleasure for us to be here today in this incredible building to join in the celebration of these two incredibly large funding announcements. Minister Piccini was right. There really is no better synergy than when governments start working together. Now, I'd like to congratulate Vanica Packaging and Custom Plastics, who've received this grant. This significant funding is going to drive massive innovation and productivity in both companies, and as someone who got started as an entrepreneur to start, who also just recently moved to this community less than 7 years ago and founded a company, I can understand how important this is. We've learned that Vanica will invest in new automation and new productivity improvements to boost new production and new product development, supporting their domestic and international growth, whereas Custom Plastics is adding new injection mold, creating new production. As a result, we've learned that there's going to be 30 great new paying jobs created in Cobourg. And I'm here today to briefly tell all of you that Cobourg is getting ready for that growth. If any of you take a drive around Cobourg, you're going to see the bustle of new housing developments in the works across our community. As this council finalizes our strategic plan, what has undoubtedly become a priority is housing. In 2023, our new housing starts under our planning team have exponentially grown compared to 2022. In fact, this year, as of July, we're over 300% an increase in new housing starts, setting us about just over 300. Those applause belong to Cobourg's Planning and Development Division, as it's working hard to keep pace with Cobourg and Northumberland's insane growth. Just this year, I'd like to highlight 4 new housing developments that have been approved and are on the way as we speak. We've got 118 new residential units coming in from Tribute. New Amherst has 135 new semis, townhouses considered attainable. We have 271 mixed-use housings, including East Village and 431 Ontario. That's at the Cobourg level. As a member of Northumberland County, I'm proud to work with the ECDEV team there as we develop our workforce housing initiative, and we look at finding a way of taking housing out of the investment side and creating opportunities for working class families to live in Northumberland at a reasonable price. Our town council remains focused on our major strategic initiatives, and those are good governance, housing starts, proper fiscal planning, and of course improving services to our residents. These are the issues that are in the purview and the responsibility of our municipal government. I'd like to conclude by thanking everyone involved in making today's announcement. And I'd like to congratulate Vanica Packaging and Custom Plastics. And I wish you continued success in this community. Thank you so much. I believe I'm going to...
Thank you, everybody. Good morning and welcome to Vanica Cobourg. So welcome the Honorable MPP Dave Piccini, the Honorable Minister Vic Fedeli, and the Mayor Cleveland, and all the distinguished guests. Today, I'm proud standing here as a beneficial of the Eastern Ontario Development Fund. The support we have received is more than just financial, and it's a vote of the confidence in our vision and our potentials. With this assistance, we turn our dream into reality. Vanica took over this building in 2022, which is 15 months ago. So we work in this building as okay, what we are working into it. Now, after 15 months is hard work and a continuously hard work from Vanica team and support from the government, the business developing and planning team in Cobourg. And here we are today, one of the largest folding carton output facility in Ontario, equipped with the best equipment from Germany, from US, and from other regions. So people always ask me, because we're from Scarborough, right? People always ask me, why Cobourg? Cobourg's far. Why is Cobourg? Where's the Cobourg? Where's Eastern Ontario? Everybody's going to Mississauga, right? So I said, why not? Cobourg is a wonderful place. And we have a great location. We have a 401 next to us. We are on the lake, right? Lake water means fortune. And we're not too far away from all the major cities. Actually, we're in between of Toronto, Kingston, Ottawa, and Montreal. And across the street, we have a US. It's a great location for business. And also, our region has well-developed infrastructures. And I think that the government is very efficient. I see more people from the city, from the region than ever. The economic development and the planning team is excellent. TJ's team and Tracy, we met many, many times to talk about the opportunity and the planning for this location. And the North Summerland Manufacturer Association, Darla becomes my go-to person. So if we have issue, we say, hey Darla, where we get our training, where we get our MC, where we get our tent. So everything we have issue with, we have a go-to person. I think that's the value of this community. That's the value of Eastern Ontario, North Summerland Ontario, right? So my experience was once again, I will tell everybody, come to Cobourg, come to Eastern Ontario, come to North Summerland. This is the best place for manufacturing. So we all know Ontario needs manufacturing. I love printed manufactured in Ontario. We love to use local source. We love to supply to our local customers. And the manufacturer needs support from government, from all level of the areas. We're getting it. So, but being a manufacturer, we also truly believe that we should take a lead on the job creation, on the economic growth, on the sustainability and the local community responsibility. We take leads on that. We think we should do it. We should be a good example for all the manufacturers. So I'm committed to contribute to the ongoing growth and the success of our region. And thank you again for your trust, for the trust and support from the Eastern Ontario Development Fund. And I also wanted to say thank you to my business partner, which is here today, and everyone who joined us today. And finally, I wanted to say a big thank you for my Vanica team. we won't have today. And you are the best. I love you all. Thank you for listening. Hope you will enjoy the rest of the time with Vanica Cobourg. Thank you.
Custom Plastics story is a little different than Carol's. The company started back in 1965 with three gentlemen who came out of GE Plastics and wanted to take a next step. And instead of leaving the area, they opened a company. And currently we operate in that same location since 1965, a 36,000 square foot facility. And we've been really pleased that we've been able to maintain a strong manufacturing base here in Cobourg. I think I lost the mic. Lost the mic? Oh, there, sorry. This announcement today is really important to us. It's big for us. We've never had an opportunity like this before. And the funding that we're getting from the Eastern Ontario Development Fund is huge for us. And we're excited to continue to grow the company and grow jobs for Cobourg and the local community and the economy here. So as was mentioned earlier from Minister Fedeli, Custom Plastics is investing over, $1.4 million in technology and automation. Sorry, is this not working? Okay. Get rid of that. Get rid of that. So we're investing $1.4 million in technology and automation at our plant. $217,000 coming from the funding. And it's allowed us to pursue new levels of productivity that we wouldn't have seen before. We're adding high efficiency lines to the plant and also flexible automation cells. So this is really cool. And I'll talk about that a bit more in a second. Okay, I'll try again. Sorry about that. So the new production lines consist of state-of-the-art, all-electric molding machines. And these give us greater energy efficiency, outstanding accuracy, and improved quality. So what does that do? It drives down our manufacturing costs. So this is huge. In addition, our investment includes collaborative robots. So these are really cool. They call them cobots for short. And they give an increased throughput. And they also provide a safe work environment for the employees and enhance job satisfaction.
One a day.
So what happens there is the cobots are designed to work with the operators, and they hand parts back and forth to each other doing different operations, and it's really cool to see. And a few examples, you might be gluing parts, you might be drilling parts, assembly, you might be doing part inspection, packaging. So all this is working hand in hand in a safe environment, so it's pretty cool. You take away some of the strain, repetitive work, and you move that to the cobot, and it's a satisfaction improvement for the operator. So that's a cool thing we're doing. And being a custom molder, we have a high mix of product. So these modular cells that we're developing are great because we can switch over to another job very quickly and start up with this enhanced information over to another product line. The increased competitiveness and capacity that we get with this investment is going to enable us also to expand into high volume markets. And that means long-term growth and sustainable, higher skilled jobs for our team and our community. And echoing Carol's sentiment for Custom Plastics, we have a fantastic team. As most manufacturers did in companies that were struggles through COVID, we've come through that. We've really developed our in-house talent, and we're really appreciative of that team. And none of this happens without them. That's really my comments today, and I do want to say thank you, first of all, Carol, for hosting today, and all your team, and allowing us into your beautiful facility. I look forward to seeing more there. My thanks to MPP Mr. Piccini, who's been a real ally for us. He's been through our plant, he knows what we do, he's been fighting and advocating for us, and getting to know him, we know he's a real support for this area, for business, so that's really key to have him, and we appreciate that. Darla, thank you for hosting again. This She's a go-to person, as Carol mentioned here, just really supporting manufacturing in this area big time. And of course, Minister Fedeli, thank you so much for your support, for being here, support companies like ours, and this funding that's coming from the Government of Ontario is really big for us, and we're really excited to be part of it, and we're really excited with the transformation that's happening at our facility. That's it. Thank you very much.
Lucas, tell me, took a tour of the place. Tell me about it.
Well, I mean, what's not to talk about? This is incredible news for Cobourg, Pete. We've seen a massive cash infusion from the provincial government to help two of our manufacturing businesses in Cobourg. We're seeing huge 30 to 35 brand new, high-paying, high-quality jobs coming to Cobourg. Meeting the people in the actual factory today. Several of them have already relocated to Cobourg. Several are looking for housing in Cobourg. This is why this council is focused on that housing development. We're seeing massive economic opportunity come to Cobourg. What we need to do as a community is really focus on getting housing built in this community as fast and as responsible as possible so that we can take advantage of this once-in-a-lifetime opportunity where Cobourg is growing. We know what's going to happen. We know in the next 10 years, Cobourg East is going to double the size. And it's just so refreshing to work with this council because it can really tell that we're coming together and focusing on our key strategic priorities. Of course, number one being housing. So I mean, as Pete, I think you said it today, proof is in the pudding. We know people are moving to this community. We know jobs are coming to this community. And as your leadership on council, we need to make sure that we're thinking ahead in the next 5 and 10 years to ensure that we're prepared for the growth that this community is going to experience.